Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is the last Friday of 2024. I can't even believe that this time has truly flown by, but I am glad that you are joining me here today so that I can share with you all of the fun things that we have been able to get done in 2024 as an organization. Now, as you know, I am Deb Burton, Executive Director of RI Elder Info and the host of Friday Friends, where every Friday I bring you information that you or someone you know needs to know about. And today it's really important that you hit the like and the share button so that we can let folks know what exactly is it that RI Elder Info does and how do we do it. So I wanted to take this last Friday to share some of the successes that we have had in 2024. Now, as a nonprofit, you know, we cannot do the work that we do without the support of our sponsors and our donors. So big shout out to Point 32 Health Foundation, United Healthcare, Oak Street Health, as well as our Friday Friends sponsor, McCarthy Law. Here's a quick minute for McCarthy Law.
Here at McCarthy Law, we practice in the areas of estate planning, long-term care planning, elder care law, and residential real estate. Our focus is really on providing peace of mind to our clients.
If you're interested in scheduling a consultation with our office, you can feel free to reach out to us at 401-541-5540. You can also reach out via website at www.mccarthylawri.com. You also should check out our social media, both on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for some helpful tips and tricks.
So it's not unusual for folks to meet with me in a networking event, in a professional event. And, you know, in that kind of atmosphere, we're always like, okay, you know, what does their business do? How does it help? But as a nonprofit, it's not a sales pitch that we're trying to do. I'm not trying to sell you anything as a nonprofit. What I'm trying to tell you is that RI Elder Info is here for you and for your friends and your loved ones when you need help. And what I find happens is I have these great interactions at these networking events, and then folks, you know, they're in the car driving home. And then I get the call, oh my God, my mom, my dad, my auntie, my uncle, my spouse. How do I do this? And it offers the opportunity to share information and resources that enables employees to be able to navigate caregiving and work. It allows loved ones to be loved ones and not researchers. And so RI Elder Info does a lot of community outreach. We do a lot of work out there to help people. Now I want to share with you my screen, and hopefully this will work. Oops, bear with me because, you know, this screen sharing thing is one of those things that I'm still new at. There we go. So that should work okay. Hopefully. There we go. Is that up? Did that work? Okay.
It did not.
It did not work. Oh, I'm not really sure why. All right. I'm not sure how to make that happen. Well, I guess you'll just have to find it on the website, right?
Nope. Just Deb, go back to StreamYard. Go back into StreamYard and hit share again.
Okay. So let's do present and share screen and window and annual report. And let's see. It does not seem to be letting me do that. It won't let me do it. Well, folks, you're just going to have to be able to download it on the website. I'm not really sure why it's not working, but that's okay because I can still share with you a lot of the things that we have been doing this year. Oh, how about now? Can you see it now? There we go. See, technology is one of those things that after all these years, I am still learning. So we worked on the 2024 annual report last night and to really kind of get an idea of how many people did we touch? Because as donors, as funders, as people watching, I know people wonder, what exactly do you do? And so, as you all know, our mission is to empower people throughout the aging journey by providing one-stop, easy access to comprehensive information and resources. Now, we have a commitment to reaching all Rhode Islanders, regardless of socioeconomic status, their demographics, their sexual identity, their gender. We want to make sure that we are inclusive of all Rhode Islanders. That's not ever going to change. And I know in a culture, there's a lot of transitions happening, but here at RI Elder Info, everyone is welcome and always will be. Now, one of our big projects that we worked on quite a bit in 2024 is our Newport County Seniors as Caregivers project. Many people came to us and said, you know, my neighbor, it's just her and her son with Down syndrome. What happens if something happens to her? Or my cousin has cerebral palsy and they have lifts in the house, but her parents are getting older. What's going to happen for the individuals who are not connected with any services and they're being cared for by a caregiver who is aging? And so with funding from Point 32 Health Foundation, the Rhode Island Foundation's Newport County Fund, and Bank Newport, we really did a lot of research into what do older caregivers need and want as they age to be able to remain independent themselves, as well as what do individuals who work at the agencies that serve individuals with disabilities, what do they see is needed? And so for clarity, let's just say Bob is 54 and Bob has Down syndrome and he goes to the workshop every day. He goes to the day program every day. And every day, Bob's 87-year-old dad with Parkinson's comes and picks him up and brings him home. It works well when it works well. But if something is not working for Bob's dad, that jeopardizes Bob's ability to remain independent in the community. But the mechanisms of finding out what does Bob's dad need in order for him to stay home with his Parkinson's? Yeah. So that was the scenario that we posed to folks. What do you need? We had 185 surveys completed. 2 were done in Spanish. We talked to people from across the country to inform our work, and we got some really amazing results. We found that for caregivers who are employed, training and staffing were the top 2 concerns, which was really a surprise because I was expecting it to be more funding. But it was actually having that sense of support was one of our findings, that's what workers are really looking for. You know, it's interesting that most care recipients, the individuals who were receiving care, did not have a disability. They were not connected with existing services, and their caregivers had been providing care for longer time, longer duration, and for more hours during the day. So I won't go through all of our findings for that report, but you'll be able to find it on our website. And it was very enlightening and is being used to inform some of the work being done around the state in this area. We have, of course, our Calling All Veterans Day. And we had multiple locations, multiple entry points at the CB Museum who were fabulous hosts. And I strongly recommend, if you have not been to the CB Museum, go check it out. It is beautiful grounds. They have a walking path. They have a museum. Truly amazing. And we had a lot of folks come through and get information and resources. And I think, you know, how do you measure that success? And part of the success is, Having our Washington delegation come and speak at the event, that's absolutely a success. And we are grateful to the entire Washington delegation for coming out that day. It's success when the participants, the resource providers, say we love coming and we look forward to coming back next year because it's always a great event. But then there's things that you can't measure. There was an individual who came and encouraged their son to come with. Their son was is an Afghanistan veteran and was struggling. The individual who came was afraid that their son may take his own life. And we all know that 21 veterans a day commit suicide. One is too many. This individual encouraged their son to come. Even though he'd been resistant to help all along, he came to Calling All Veterans Day and he spoke, he spoke vet to vet, and he took the information he needed to get the help that he needed. And there really is no way to measure that. Sorry. And I'm live. You can't measure that. It's not quantifiable. Our Elder Info prides itself in responding to the community's needs. Always a good time when you get choked up on live shows. We often tell our older adults, go to your senior center if you need information. And I am a huge cheerleader for our senior centers. They are underfunded. They need volunteers. They need more resources. And they do amazing bulwark. But not all of our communities have senior centers. And so I reached out to the communities that didn't have senior centers. And I reached out to learn, what information would you find most helpful in your role as human services for your community? And one of the things that came up was we'd like to be connected. We want to collaborate with other organizations. And in these times of unsure funding, I am hearing more and more often, we want to collaborate, we want to work together because we don't all know the answers. And so RA Elder Info, with the support of Bank Newport, launched this year the Community Collaborations for Seniors professional networking group. And it's open to everybody. You don't have to be a professional. You can be a member of the community. It meets on the second Wednesday of the month, every month. And what we offer is training on topics that you identify you want to learn more about. So as a group, we understand you can share in the group, hey, I really don't know how to do fill in the blank. You can message me. You can call me. You can text me. Because I also recognize there has been some very high staff turnover in the health and social service field. And sometimes when we start in a position and the people before us have turned over frequently before, historical knowledge is lost. And so it might be one of those things where I think I'm supposed to know that, but I'm not really sure. Reach out. We can have that conversation. We'll find the resources you need. And it is developing that sense of connection among professionals that is really the meat and potatoes in addition to the actual training. We're getting a lot of things done working collaboratively in this way. There was a horrible tragedy in Scituate involving an individual with dementia and their caregiver falling ill. And it broke my heart. I reached out to Annie Murphy over at the Alzheimer's Association. Shout out to Annie for always answering my call. And we put together trainings for the community with a targeted goal for the rural communities where the healthcare workforce shortage is really pretty significant. And we met in Scituate and Burrillville, and we have more of the rural communities scheduled for 2025 to let caregivers know that there is resources available when you are caring for someone with dementia, and how to navigate some of those tough challenges of when someone doesn't want help. How do you handle that? When someone is truly believing something is happening that isn't true. And how do we come together as a community to support one another in caregiving. So we did that, and we've reached a lot of people in our rural communities with more to come. You know, you might have heard 2024 was an election year. Maybe, just saying. There's a lot of rhetoric around whether or not individuals who live in long-term care facilities or who have a disability have the ability to vote. And to dispel this ageist and ableist nonsense, RA Elder Info, with the support of the League of Women Voters Education Fund, convened the Voting Rights in Long-Term Care panel with all of the top experts here in the state to explain exactly how and where one can exercise their constitutional right to vote. We answered a lot of questions, and we reached a few thousand people, and it was really amazing because we all retain our rights as we age. It doesn't matter where we live. So it was a great opportunity to get that information out in a voting year, and we did it in such a way that that video is always going to be available. So whether you're having an election next year or the year after or after that, the content is still going to be valid, and you're welcome to share it with anyone and everyone. You might have heard, if you've had the TV on or checked any of the local newspapers, that on Friday the 13th, and doesn't all good things happen on Friday the 13th, the Governor McKee held a press conference that Friday night to announce that the Rhode Island Bridges computer system had been vulnerable to a hack. And at this point, they're saying roughly 600,000 people may have been impacted, individuals who have applied for long-term services and supports or SNAP benefits or childcare, a wide variety of state-funded services. The system was compromised. Within 2 hours, RA Elder Info was able to share out with our 2,000 plus subscribers information on how to secure your account immediately. The phone numbers, the websites that you needed. We broke the news in the aging field to get people this information. Now, here's the thing. As much as we're tech savvy, as much as we are an online platform, indeed, you're watching us right now online, we also recognize that nobody innately knows how to navigate the system, the computer systems for the three credit reporting bureaus, of how to actually do that. And so you need to know that for yourself. But if you're a professional in the industry, you're going to have folks coming to you asking for help. So it became absolutely clear that we had to do some kind of training immediately. And so with very little lead time, we held our first training on Monday, December 23rd, how to secure your credit reports in the wake of a data breach. Our friends at the Rhode Island College Cybersecurity Institute and Emerging Technologies, I totally mangled their names, sorry, the Institute for Cybersecurity and Emerging Technologies, were able to bring up the information in a way that they could share screens to some extent, because in order to secure credit or freeze, put a fraud alert, you need to use your own information. They were able to bring up the information that you need in order to be able to secure your identity and your credit. And in keeping with our goal of reaching all Rhode Islanders, we were able to commit to collaborate with the Commission for Deaf and Hard of Hearing to have an ASL interpreter to ensure that individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing can get that information. I can tell you right now, we are seeking funding to get the information, the video translated into other languages to get that information out to even more people. So we have the recordings and the handouts available for free on the raelderinfo.com website. I'll be happy to share those out. They'll be going out in my weekly newsletter later today. So make sure you are signed up for my newsletter, right? Okay. When we're done here, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter, because every week I am sharing something new. It's important. The other thing that we have found is that when you become a caregiver, or when you have a medical event for yourself, it's not innate in how to do or provide care. Now, my newsletter subscribers know that this year I fell and broke my right ankle. So we're doing retro with a home show. But it also made me even more aware of the fact that when you need to use a wheelchair or crutches or assistive devices, in that gap between your time in the emergency room and the time when you're seeing the specialists and the time it takes to heal, you don't have the information you need in order to do things as effectively as you could. And so we partnered with New England Institute of Technology, their grad students, and the grad students created caregiver training videos that are available under the resource tab. And they show step by step in an easy, understandable, relatable way information that I, for one, have found very useful this year, having had a broken ankle. So I encourage you to check that out. You know, we have a heart for our veterans. And so there are many veterans events that RI Elder Info participates in. Not that we are, say, providing duplicative services among other veteran service providers, because we're not. What we are doing is supporting our veterans who are also caregivers with the information and resources they need, just like all the other caregivers, but in a slightly different way. We're providing them the information they need, because if we can assist to make their load lighter, it's our obligation to do it. So in 2025, we are looking for funding to initiate the first veteran caregiver support group. And you say, oh, but wait a minute, Deb, there are veteran caregiver support groups. Those support groups are usually focused specifically on the caregivers caring for the veterans. What RI Elder Info seeks to do in 2025 is to create a caregiver support group that is for veterans who are providing care. So we are looking forward to that project. And if you'd like to fund us, reach out to me, Deb at rielderinfo.com, 401-585-0509, so that we can get that up and running in 2025. There's nothing quite like it around. You know, we like to support our other communities. We like collaborating. That is super important because we are all in this world together. We got to work together. So we're out at a variety of different events, cheering for those organizations. If you've got something coming up, let us know. We'll be happy to participate, whether it's raising awareness for older adult mental health concerns, or supporting the Parkinson's Association or the Alzheimer's Association, which I realize I forgot their picture, or the senior centers. We are happy to be out there supporting our community. And as you all know, we do Friday Friends right here, 9:00 every Friday. And for Friday Friends, we are opening up sponsorship opportunities so that you can be recognized here on Friday Friends as an organization that supports information and resources that keep people independent. Our Friday Friends, in conjunction with 321 Media, have been able to reach over 1 million people. Now, some of those people might be people who are returning to watch us every week. But the fun thing is, our reach is growing. It is so exciting that we can get information out to more people. And with the support of sponsors, we will be able to reach even more. Our website continues to grow in visitors, 5 years strong. One of our other goals for 2025 is for funding to revise the site to make it even easier to understand and to have the site itself be able to answer some of your basic questions, so that then when your questions are more in depth, we can speak one-on-one and you can get that information at any time in a realistic, understandable way. Now, as you all know, We can't do this without the support of our sponsors and our donors. So a huge thank you to Point 32 Health Foundation, United Healthcare, and Oak Street Health. They support us every day, 365. Now, here's the thing. In order to continue to grow, we need more support. So if you are able, go on the RA Elder Info website and hit the donate button. Become a monthly sponsor. Your efforts to support our work really translates to change and contact and saving lives in the community. It can make a difference. And if you've already made your decisions about your end of year giving, I understand that too. But know when you're ready, RA Elder Info will be here. We'll be here for you. And I want to look up something to share with you because it's not, I wasn't ready for this. And I apologize, everybody. But it was something that I wanted to share because it summed up something that I hadn't really thought of, and I will take the individual's voice off of it. I answer the phone for folks, and I answer their questions anytime. And if you get the voicemail, we call back. And I'm often asked by funders, how do you measure success? And that can be a hard thing to measure. Yes, we have our annual report that I just went through, and we are reaching a tremendous amount of people. But there are things like that Afghanistan veteran who came and got the help. You can't measure that. When someone calls and they're speaking so rapidly, oh my God, my dad fell and I don't know what to do, and mom can't take care of him anymore, and oh my God, how are we going to pay for this? And they don't take a breath and they keep going 2 or 3 minutes. And then they say, are you there? I say, I'm here. I'm listening. Take a breath. Now let's talk. And at the end of that conversation, the person on the other end of the phone, you can hear them. You can hear that sound of relief. But it's not something that you can measure. And so I want to share this because sometimes the stories we hear are hard. And he said, I think the one thing I wanted to thank you for was almost the last thing you said to me. And you were saying it's going to happen quick. This individual was calling me about a loved one who was at the end. And it didn't come. We talked on Tuesday when you and I were talking, and he passed on Thursday. And I was ready. And I realized it was more urgent in reminding him how much he was loved. And so I wanted to thank you for that. I don't know that you get a lot of thank you in your line of business. Seems like you deal with a lot of sad all the time. I don't know how you do it, but thank you. There's stuff RA Elder Info does that isn't quantifiable. And so if you pledge to donate to us, to sponsor us, I promise you, we're going to continue to make a difference in people's lives. You have my word on that. It makes a difference. And so I am glad that you have all stayed throughout this very long podcast today. I look forward to seeing you all again next week in the new year as we kick off Friday Friends with Catherine Taylor from AARP Rhode Island to hear what they're up to for 2025. If you need us, we'll be here. Give us a call. In the meantime, see you next week. Be well. Be kind.
If you liked this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.